Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're reading from Canto 1, Srimad-Bhagavatam, Chapter 2, Text 18. naṣṭa-prāyeṣv abhadreṣu nityaṁ bhagavata-sevayā bhagavati uttama-śloke bhaktir bhavati naiṣṭhikī. Translation. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. This particular verse is also so nice. This we chant before starting Srimad-Bhagavatam, reading Srimad-Bhagavatam. And this verse is a very important verse because it talks about how a devotee is advancing from one level to the next level. As all of you know, we have different stages of devotional service. So from Shraddha to Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, it's like cycling the uphill. Now the ones who have cycled or the ones who walk. So when you go up, it's really tiring. It's really difficult. And then when you go on the top, not much, it's a flat ground. And then when you come down, that's really smooth. You need not pedal also. You just leave your legs and then you just zoom. And if your karma is bad, you'll go and dash somewhere. When I'm talking about people having good karma, yes, they'll go, aram se they'll go. Yes. Therefore, these stages are a bit difficult stages. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. So, upar jate the devotee is so tired, Anartha Nivritti, he's just gasping for breath. But then, when we have these frequent classes and when we understand the different intricacies of different stages, then it becomes a bit easy. Okay, I'm here in this stage. It will be difficult, but then yes, I have to go ahead. So with that motivation, we can go up and then we can go for the smooth journey also. So this particular shloka says, naṣṭa-prāyeṣv abhadreṣu. Abhadra. Abhadra means that which is unwanted. A synonym for abhadra can be anartha. What does Prabhupada speak on this word anartha? What does he say? What is anartha? Not? Okay, not meaningful. Any other thing that you have heard in Prabhupada's class? Artha. Okay, non-desirable. That's more precise. So whenever we talk about anartha, always remember these are the useless desires or nonsensical desires. Those are called as anartha, which has no value. Prabhupada says that which has no value, that's anartha. Artha and you add ana to it. So anartha. So that which is useless. Useless desires or nonsensical desires, though they are spoken about. So now, what are the different anarthas which are available in our own self? Let's try to analyze that. So there are 4 broad categories of anarthas. Today you will have lots to write. Yes. So it means you have to write. That's what I said. There are 4 categories of anarthas. The first one is called as dushkritotha anartha. Dushkritortha. Then second is sukritotha. Third is bhaktyotha. And the fourth is aparadotha. So these are the 4 broad categories of anarthas. Let me explain one by one. First is dushkritotha, means anarthas arising because of sinful activities. Now, all the sinful activities which we perform, always remember, obviously we have to suffer for that. Reactions are there. But the subtle thing that is there, that is very, very troublesome. Very, very troublesome to the heart. That's what Prabhupada writes in the translation also. That which is very troublesome to the heart. So externally we commit a sinful activity, we have to suffer for that like anything. But then along with that, there are some other things get added on the subtle platform, and this is what we are speaking about. So now when someone commits sinful activities, the anartha that creeps in are avidya, ignorance. Now when the person gets into, you commit sinful activity, we get into ignorance, it's almost like a switch is switched off, a button is switched off. Now even if the person is speaking n number of things, say a senior devotee is counseling you and speaking n number of things, but if your switch is off, it's dark, literally you cannot see anything. Recently, some devotee was sharing his heart with me, and we were having discussion. And then I could see very easily that this button is off. You cannot, even if you speak anything, it will not go inside. Then I had a discussion with another senior devotee that what has to be done. Then that senior devotee was sharing that somehow we have to help him to switch on that button. Because unless that button is off, unless that button is switched on, nothing will enter that person's head. Therefore, it's very, very important to note that as of now, when the button is on, and when clarity is there, when we are able to absorb various things, and we are able to understand and think about or aspire about advancing in spiritual life, we have to understand button is on. And we have to make sure that button remains on. For that, whatever is needed, we should do. And one of the important thing is, no sinful activity. Very, very important. Second is asmita or false ego. Whenever we talk about false ego, so it becomes very clear when we discuss about that chariot analogy. So in that chariot analogy, we have senses, horses. We have the rope, that is mind, and the person who is holding his intelligence, and the person sitting in the chariot is the soul, and the entire chariot is the body. And you know what the false ego does? The false ego convinces us, gives a very strong conviction that you are this body. So bodily identification is the job of asmita or false ego. Now this is something which Srila Prabhupada keeps hitting and hitting and hitting, but still it doesn't enter. Kitna strong, yeah, we are so strong covering of ignorance that this is not dwelling inside. Very difficult. Bodily conception of life. And that is the beginning of various different sufferings. That is second, asmita. Third one is raga. Raga means attachment. Attachment for what? Attachment for material sense gratification. I want to enjoy more and more and more. So just imagine, we commit one sinful activity and all these different things are getting into picture. So whenever we get these sinful desires, always remember that something nonsense we have done. Therefore this anartha is creeping up. So this raga, attachment, desire for material sense enjoyment is something that will go on increasing. And so anyone who comes to obstruct that, then we take the Rudra avatar of our own. Yes. Which demon will manifest, we don't know. And then that person or that thing which is obstructing, that person or thing, we call it as enemy. And we start hating it. And that is what is the fourth one, dvesha. We start hating that person, we start hating the thing. Therefore, you see, those devotees are very strong and in their practice and things like that. So those people who are halka-pulka devotees, they'll never go and approach them for anything. They know very well, if I talk to this person, he will obstruct my sense gratification. No, I'll not go try. There are many people like that you'll find. Yes. So this is dvesha. And the last one is abhinivesh. Abhinivesh or deep absorption, or you can also call it as addiction. So addiction to evil is what is abhinivesh. Very absorbed, in the bodily conception of life. So in this way, these anarthas will creep in when the person commits sinful activities. We're just discussing one word, abhadra. So we need to discuss a lot to begin the verse. Abhadra. So dushkritotha anartha. So 5 aspects in it. First, avidya. Second, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh. So these are the 5 aspects, which we will be able to see in ourselves or in others, when this particular anartha creeps in. The next one is sukritotha anarthas. Anarthas coming from pious activities. Now when I read this for the first time, I was thinking, is dunya mein kuch bhi karna problem hai. You do sinful activity, it's a problem. You do pious activity, it's a problem. So what are the problems with pious activity? Now say some person is doing a lot of pious activities. He goes and gives charity to the beggars, to various orphanages. And in the previous times, when it comes to pious activity, it means building a well, digging a well, building a canal, and keeping water for birds and other creatures who are there around, putting some grains for various creatures, feeding various animals, etc., etc., etc. All these pious activities, which we cannot see nowadays much. So now these pious activities, when someone does, oh, by the way, there are karma kanda activities which will come in this category also, which again it is not done now. Karma kanda activities like doing some yajna or whatever, the person gets pious activities. Now these pious activities come, there are different levels of anarthas which will creep in. So what are the different levels of anarthas? The desire for bhakti will become very strong. I want to do sense gratification. Planning begins, sense gratification. Okay, he will do dharmic sense gratification. But any type of sense gratification is going to take the person away from Krishna consciousness. So sense gratification. You'll find many people like that, who are pious, who are very good, they'll not harm others, they'll not hurt others, but they are not very keen of going deep in devotional service. Have you seen such people? You'll feel like, itna acha problem kya hai iske saath? Why is he not going deep in bhakti? Because of this reason. Next is mukti. Now when the person is doing various pious activities, the desire for mukti comes. And what is that? I just want to get rid of this world. Too much. I just want to get rid of this world. Even to get that thought that I want to get rid of this world, you need some sukrutis. You need some pious credits. You need some punya. There are people, you see some drunkards or drug addicts or whatever. You ask them, so what do you think about this world? What is your opinion? Oh, this world is a happy place. Utter ignorance. You say, no, ignorance is bliss. They're into that mode. Only when some pious credits are there and some punya is there, the person realizes and the person wants to get rid of this world. So he aspires for mukti. Mukti means liberation. Liberation, going to merging with Brahma-jyoti, merging in Brahma-jyoti. But lower than that is just this desire that I just want to get rid of this world. That is mukti. And the other people who want siddhi. So to aspire to get some siddhi also, the person has to have some punya, where he'll get this desire that, I should be having some siddhis, like maybe flying in the air or becoming heavier than the heaviest or whatever. So you see, even punya is needed, to get these anarthas. Yes. So only when you have punya, then these anarthas, will creep in. The third one is very, very astonishing. Bhaktya uttanartha. So when the devotee starts practicing bhakti, anarthas increase. Hari Bol. And literally, there are cases where devotees do come and say that, I was not having these anarthas before. After practicing bhakti, these anarthas have creeped in. By the way, that doesn't mean that I want to be saved from these anarthas, so I'll not practice bhakti. That's not a solution. We'll discuss the solution. So, Bhaktya Utta Anartha is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Beach. After going in the entire Brahmanda, entire universe, then finally, after many, many, many lifetimes, the person gets the opportunity to meet a bona fide devotee. He receives his mercy. He receives mercy of Krishna and his bhakti life begins. So that beginning of bhakti life is spoken about in this particular verse as a seed. Seed is sown, now the bhakti lata is growing. And how to nourish this bhakti lata? Shravana kirtana. This is the jala, this is the water that has to be put. So anytime you want to kill this bhakti lata beej, anytime you get this demonic desire, bahut bhakti kar liya. Now to kill this bhakti lata, stop watering. That is, stop shravanam kirtanam. So all those devotees who stop shravanam kirtanam and they come and speak about this also, I don't know, Prabhuji, what is happening? Nothing is good in my life. Nothing is good. Sab kuch galat ho raha hai. Now when a sincere devotee comes and says this, the first question that the counselor will ask, how is your shravanam kirtanam going? Nahi kar pa rahe, Prabhuji. So bhakti lata is drying up, Baba. You're not putting water. How will bhakti lata grow? And then the devotee sincerely waters bhakti lata. And now the bhakti lata is growing very nicely. And along with that, there are weeds which are growing around. Wonderful weeds which looks like bhakti lata beej, which looks like bhakti lata. Agar thoda alag dikhta na, to kuch problem nahi tha. But it looks like bhakti lata. I don't know how many of you have experience of doing some farming. In childhood, in the vacation, that was our fun time, going to village and then helping people in farming. So there would be one phase where the plant has grown to a certain level and then they have to remove the weeds which are there. And now we as kids, we are not understanding which is the weed and which is the actual plant. We'll remove the actual plant also at times. So it means these weeds look similar. It looks similar. And the person still feels, he's advancing in bhakti. So now these weeds which are there, those are the anarthas which are spoken about here as bhaktyottanartha. What are these weeds? Nishiddhachar kutinati jiva himsana labha puja pratishtha adi jata upashakha gana. Upashakha weeds. These are the upashakhas. And especially the importance that is given to, or the stress that is given to is puja, labh and pratishtha. What is puja? The desire for glorification. Someone should glorify me. Someone should worship me. Acha lagta hai. And someone comes, pays obeisance, says Hare Krishna. And you know what? This particular anartha will go on increasing as you grow in bhakti also. So your plant is, bhakti lata is growing, uske saath saath ye weed bhi grow ho raha hai. Yes. Now what happens is, as you grow in bhakti, naturally people around will see, oh, he's sincere, so nicely he's doing. He had fever, still he got up, still he attended Mangalarti, he chanted his rounds, then he slept. Oh, fixed up devotee, very fixed up. And then you will see that along with the fixed up lata, bhakti lata, we have another fixed up weed that is coming. Fixed up. And this weed also keeps growing and growing and growing. And to such an extent, initially it doesn't matter if someone says Hare Krishna to him or no, it doesn't matter. But as he grows, and say, he comes and then there's no one who is saying Hare Krishna, people are ignoring him. There's a lot of pain. The same person when he came as a newcomer, when no one knew him, so no one would greet him. He was okay. But now when he has grown senior, so when he comes inside and if no one is greeting Hare Krishna, oh, I'm saying this because I've met devotees like that. Hare Krishna bhi nahi bola. What's wrong with him? What's wrong with her? कुछ तो करना चाहिए प्रभु जी. And I look at that person. कुछ तो करना चाहिए तेरे साथ. I have to remove that weed now. And literally all of us will be able to see this. And no one is exempted from these weeds. We can never say that, प्रभु जी आप शायद अपनी बात कर रहे हैं. But मेरे में तो यह है नहीं. ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता. If your bhakti lata is growing, then this weed will also grow. If this is not happening, means bhakti lata is also not growing. Puja. Labh. What is labh? Profit. Yes. People will come and give gifts to us, thinking, oh, such a great devotee, something should be given. And with time, the expectation also increases. Last time this devotee, when he came, he gave this particular gift. Dekhta hu is baar kya layega. And say, the only gift that he gets is his love and affection for you. You're not satisfied with that. Is baar kuch nahi laya. Labh. And then we have pratishtha. What is pratishtha? Pratishtha? Prestige. Some position. So now the person expects. Now this is something where the person is outside in the material world and he never expected any position or whatever. He just wanted some sense gratification. Now when he comes in the association of devotees, he wants some position. He wants to. And sometimes the growing in the ladder of some management or managerial positions, sometimes that is confused with advancement in bhakti. It can happen. The person is advancing, so he is given higher positions also. But then it may also happen that he is very good at acting, so he is being given higher position. It might happen. So we can never compare in the managerial positions and the advancement in bhakti. Sometimes devotees do expect this. No, I should get some position in the devotee community. Literally one devotee who spent some time in bhakti in few years, and then that devotee called me for counseling. Really going through a tough phase. I asked, you're going through tough phase because of what? And that devotee said, because of devotees. Then I asked, what happened? Prabhuji, I'm able to see. I'm able to see that how people around me are hankering for position. See, we are in Bangalore. कोई गांव में preach करते हो तो ना कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. But when you're in Bangalore and you have corporate professionals around, who are there in corporate world and know very well that what people hanker for and this and that. And when they come in devotee association, just by talks, just by behavior, just by mood, and you never know, just by your expressions also they'll be able to make out that what is this person trying to do. So we cannot act over smart thinking, I'll be duplicit and try to hide. Nahi, pakad lete. And this devotee, when this devotee started speaking to me, I was literally feeling that yes, this hankering for position. And that too, the devotee was not pointing to some 2 rounders, 3 rounders or whatever. The devotee was pointing to someone at 16 rounds and guiding so many people and things like that. And when I did some background check, that is what is our service. So when I did that background check and literally could find, yes, that devotee is hankering for something. Means Bhakti Lata is growing, but along with that, the weed is also growing. So this is Bhaktya Uttha Anartha, Puja Labh Pratishtha. And now the fourth category of anartha that is there is Apradotha Anartha. Apradotha Anartha means the offenses that we commit. Various offenses that we commit. What are the different offenses that we commit? Nam Aparad. We are so expert in doing that. Yes, Nam Aparad. Next. Vaishnava Aparad, next level. Yes, Vaishnava Aparad. And Seva Aparad. And Jiva Aparad. Guru Aparad comes in Vaishnava Aparad. That's topmost in Vaishnava Aparad. Yes. So anyone who has got the demonic desire that I want to commit the topmost aparad, then you can aspire for that. So now these are different anarthas. So to start with is Nam Aparad. And all of us know the 10 offenses to the holy name. We recite every day. And then we have Seva Aparad. Now for your information, Seva Aparad is something that is not counted actually. Why it is not counted? Because say the devotee is sincere and unfortunately some Seva Aparad he has committed. He does not know also. And he continues chanting Hare Krishna. Or there are some mantras, like for example when we do deity worship. Now it's not that purposely a pujari will do something, knowingly he'll do some offense to the Lord. Unknowingly, say he is doing arati, and then unknowingly, he saw some red rose which is offered to the Lord. And then that red rose took him to a different direction, and then he got into some different thoughts, and still some 100 times he has done incense offering to the one deity of Krishna. Yes. So now he didn't do that purposely, but what to do? His mind took him for a ride. He suddenly realized, 15 minutes ho gaya, I'm just offering incense. So now that is Seva Aparad that is committed, inattentiveness while worship. But on a serious note, when he is doing that aparad, and say towards the end of the worship, he offers a prayer to the Lord. Yes. Mantrahinam, kriyahinam, bhaktihinam janardhana, yat pujitam maya deva paripurnam tadastu me. Oh Lord, Please forgive me for all the offenses that I've committed. I don't know proper mantras. I don't have proper bhakti. I don't know proper procedure. You please forgive me, O Lord. So just by offering this prayer, that particular aparadha that he has done unknowingly, that is removed. Hari Bol. So you should know that mantra also. Or at least offer a prayer in your own language. But this prayer is very important, that please forgive me for the offenses that I've committed unknowingly. And say a devotee who is extra smart and knowingly is committing Vaishnava aparadha. He's coming inside the temple and janbuj ke not paying obeisances. Looking at the Lord, nahi karne wala obeisance. Yes. So now if some person is doing like that knowingly, this is a very trivial thing that I mentioned, but some people might, because of whatever demonic tendencies, it might be possible that someone might commit seva aparadha knowingly, and you'll plan also to commit seva aparadha. You never know. So such seva aparadha he is not exempted from. But if he is unknowingly committing seva aparadha and he is continuing chanting Hare Krishna, all the seva aparadha are nullified. And then we spoke about Vaishnava aparadha. Yes. So when it comes to devotees, they are very special, and Krishna is very possessive about devotees. So there are three categories of devotees: Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttam. And the aparadha that we commit to Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttam, so the intensity of reaction will also keep growing. And when the offense is committed to an Uttamadhikari, the devotee is out of devotional service. There are many examples like that. Many examples. The fourth one is Jiva, committing offenses to the Jivas, because they are all part and parcels of Krishna. And when we commit offense against them, so that also is counted. Now this was another revealing thing, which I got to read. So people around us, creatures around us, so you have to be very careful of not committing this offense. Jiva aparadha. So in this way, there are these four categories of aparadha. Broad categories. First one is Dushkritotta aparadha. Or the aparadha, Dushkritotta anartha, not aparadha. Dushkritotta anartha. Four categories of anarthas. So first one is Dushkritotta anartha. And that is because of sinful activities. So whatever sinful activities we know, so all that can be put in this. Sukritotta anarthas. So what happens because of this? What are the nonsensical desire that creeps in? Bhukti, Bhukti, Siddhi. Third one, Bhaktya Utta anarthas. Because of this, and the Bhakti Lata is growing, the weeds are also growing, and these weeds are three weeds are specifically stressed on. Puja, Love, and Pratishtha. And then the fourth one is Aparadotha, that is committing offenses. Specifically, when I was reading Madhurya, Kadambini, and even the other related text, again and again the stress was given to Nama Aparadha. Multiple times, Nama Aparadha, Nama Aparadha, Nama Aparadha. So Nama Aparadha is the topmost thing in this. And then, we have knowingly committed Seva Aparadha. Then we have Vaishnava Aparadha. Vaishnava Aparadha is also part of Nama Aparadha, but still it is specifically again given. And then Jiva Aparadha. Now, as a devotee grows in devotional service from Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti Patagya, because of these aparadha. These anarthas. Because of these anarthas, he stuck these four broad categories of anarthas. So as he grows from anishtita bhajana kriya to nishtita bhajana kriya, so Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, anishtita bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti, nishtha or nishtita bhajana kriya. So when he grows like that, so there are some of the anarthas which are nullified at the stage of bhajana kriya. Some are nullified at the stage of anartha nivritti. Some are nullified at the stage of nishtha. And some go on further till the stage of bhava and prema also. So now, these four categories of anarthas that we discussed, and the shloka that we're discussing, naṣṭa-prāyeṣv, abhadreṣu. Naṣṭa means to destroy. Prāyeṣv means almost. Almost. So almost the anarthas are destroyed. So today we discussed four categories of anarthas. The first three categories that we discussed, that is destroyed to a great extent. But what remains with the devotee in the higher stages is nama-aparadha. This is what it remains. That is aparadotha, anartha, this remains. So tinges of this offenses, which will remain with the devotee, that will go on, till the higher stages. So in this way, this verse, the first line itself says, naṣṭa-prāyeṣv abhadreṣu. Almost the anarthas are removed, and from this text we get the understanding that okay, the first three anarthas are removed to a great extent, but the last one, it remains. Aparadotha remains. Now let's talk about the last line of this verse. Naṣṭa-prāyeṣv abhadreṣu, and the last line is bhaktir, bhavati, naiṣṭhikī. So it is said, person comes to the stage of nishta. Now what is the stage of nishta? Let's try to understand this more clearly. The stage of nishta says, at the stage of nishta, there are some things which are missing. Again, there are 5 aspects which are missing in the stage of nishta, or removed in the stage of nishta. Now, because of these anarthas that we discussed, these 4 categories of anarthas that we discussed, there are 5 aspects remains in the life of a devotee which troubles a devotee like anything. And all of you sitting here will be able to connect to these 5 very nicely with each one of them. Because since we all are struggling, most of us might be struggling in the stage of anartha nivritti. So these 5, will be dominating, in our day-to-day bhajana kriya while doing sadhana. And when these 5 are removed, then the person comes to the nishta stage. I will be asking, Prabhuji, bata dijiye abhi kya hai wo 5? These 5 are mentioned very nicely in Madhurya Kadambini. The first one is laya. Laya, L-A-Y-A, laya. So laya means sleep or mental inactivity. Now, I don't think I need to describe this much. I can see some practical examples also. Laya, sleep. Now this laya also is in increasing order. Now, say the person has got a lot of anarthas. That person has the capability to sleep even in an enthusiastic kirtan. Ekdam aisa, bada, what do you call it as? Wampar, wo baj raha hai. And then this devotee is just sitting beside the person who is playing wampar and still is. So this is the first one, that is kirtan. So, based on the anarthas, the sleeping tendency is decided in this stage, kirtan. Now just imagine someone is dancing and he sleeps. Or say someone is giving Bhagavatam class and he sleeps. There are many examples like that. So it can be anything, tiredness is there. So maybe the person can doze off or whatever. One Prabhupada disciple was sharing this, that he was in the kitchen, deity kitchen, cooking for the Lord, Rajbhog. And then Bhagavatam class was going on. So he was hearing that Bhagavatam class. And then some of the devotees would be very tired, getting up for Mangalarati and all that. Tired after sleep, chanting also. I don't know how many of you experienced, but after chanting also sometimes I feel a lot of tiredness. Oh, bahut ho gaya abhi. And then keep the bead somewhere and not see it to the next day. So after so much of tiredness, so Bhagavatam class is the place where the person sits. It's almost like there's a button below, and then as if the button is pressed, yes, then the person dozes off. So this devotee was hearing the Bhagavatam class. So suddenly the Bhagavatam class stopped, and he came out and he saw that the devotees in the Bhagavatam class, they were sleeping. And the speaker also was sleeping, sitting on the Vyasasana. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he highlights, he says that because of the anarthas, the laya happens even in the stage of kirtan. So it can be any kirtan, nama kirtan, or it can be anything else, nama, rupa, guna, lila. Now don't judge people. Say a senior devotee sitting on the Vyasasana and then he goes to sleep. Laya. That is not proper. We should always sympathize, saying maybe Prabhuji might be very tired from previous day's services or whatever. Yes. So one of the main difficulties when you discuss these technicalities is if the devotee is immature, then he'll try to map This with the devotee, is doing that particular thing. So by doing that, what happens? Say you start doing this, laya, this devotee. What happens? Huh? Okay, all that manifests in us. अभी तो डिस्कस किया ना पहले हम लोग. Offense. Anarthas will increase. Already we are not that great personalities that we are sitting and we are attentive or whatever. We start judging the other person, we commit offense, and then that creeps in. Our anarthas increase and laya increases in us. Congratulations. The next level is when the person is doing shravanam. I really admire our acharyas. मतलब कितना analysis करके पूरा सब कुछ दिया है. And we can connect with that also. The next higher level of laya is in shravanam. So when the person sits in the Bhagavatam class, so now he's just a listener. He's doing shravanam. So when he's doing shravan, so the person goes off to sleep. So that is the higher level. And much higher than that is smaranam. And in smaranam, japa is included. So that is the highest level of laya. That is inactivity or mental inactivity or sleep. That's the highest level, laziness. So sleeping in japa, is that highest level. अभी किस का कितना लया है, अभी you can manage and understand for yourself. Therefore, this analysis is very important. At least to understand theoretically ki where am I as of now, in which situation. So we'll understand here laya. If someone is sleeping in kirtan, high time, Baba. High time. Very high time. And those devotees, unfortunately, if you have this tendency, because there are some devotees who are seen as soon as they sit in Bhagavatam class, Om Namo Bhagavate-Vasudevaya, done. In the first chanting only, done. And this becomes a habit. And when this becomes a habit, that's very, very frustrating. When you grow and you're called a senior devotee, it's very, very frustrating. Therefore, those devotees who have this tendency, that's okay what to do, because of anarthas, it might be there. You might go to sleep. We should at least go and stand behind. And then while standing also, if you're feeling sleepy, walk in that place only a little bit. Don't disturb the speaker, but a little bit. And if you're feeling sleepy there also, go and sleep. Go have peaceful sleep. Yes. So we have to endeavor for this. Very, very important. Laya. And japa also same thing. So we should try our best. Because now, say, when the person sleeps in japa, what happens? Be in this discussion. Don't go to some other out-of-box thinking. In this discussion, when you sleep in japa, what happens? Nama-prāyeṣv. Inattentive chanting. And in Harinam Chintamani, it is said, inattentive chanting is the mother of all the other offenses. Isliye 11th one, we don't speak much. 11th one is the mother of all the other 10. All the other 10. Therefore, this 11th one, that is being inattentive while chanting, also has to be taken care. Active endeavor is needed. Active endeavor. नींद आ रहा है तो मुंह पे पानी मार के आओ. Now some devotees saying, "Bro, कितने बार पानी मारे? जितने बार नींद आ रहा है मारो पानी और क्या? At least endeavor. Because when you endeavor, Krishna sees the endeavor. And Krishna says, पानी waste कर रहा है. No, it's okay. I'll give him some enthusiasm and chanting. Okay. Don't do so much. And you never know, you might get that mercy of the Lord and enthusiastic while chanting. You might not get sleep. Endeavor is needed. Endeavor is needed. That's the point I'm trying to make. Second one, because of anarthas, the second thing that takes place is vikshepa. Vikshepa means distraction. But now this devotee, usme laya kam hai. He is not sleeping much. But then he is distracted. Vikshepa. Talking or thinking about the material, nonsensical things is what is a sign of vikshepa. Now, pure class mein, the speaker might have spoken amazing things. And there might be one material thing which he might have, some example he might have given. Say some movie that he has watched, or sometimes Bhagavatam speakers, they do this dangerous thing in the class. Or they sing some line of movie song, which is very dangerous. Devotees who are going to give Bhagavatam class, please be very careful not to do all this. Now say that one line is sung, from a movie song. And after the Bhagavatam class, those devotees were stuck in this problem. They're having prasadam and they're saying, "Oh, kya gaye, huh? Prabhuji ka voice ekdam melodious hai. Wo song is actually matching with that same singer whom I used to hear." और पता है वो song में, when I had gone to theatre to watch this scene was there. And when I was watching that scene, I got really inspired, and this happened, that happened. I सोचिए सुना Bhagavatam class, and then chair क्या कर रहा है? The material aspect, because that gets highlighted now. That gets completely highlighted. Therefore, we take reflections after the class. Just to verify कि दिमाग में घुसा कि नहीं, जो message था वो घुसा कि नहीं. And literally, the newcomers who are there, many times it happens that only that material thing which we have spoken, that they are able to catch, but they're not able to catch the crux of the entire Bhagavatam class. Vikshepa. This is the thing. And also, those devotees are very serious, sincere in their practice. You should try your best to be away from such devotees. No speak material things. ऐसे चांस मिलते ही चालू, न्यूज़ की बातें, क्रिकेट में क्या हुआ, IPL, and then talking about politics. पता नहीं अभी कौन आएगा सत्ता में. अब यही बात करते रहो, अपना सत्ता निकल जाएगा. Yes, we will get out of devotional service just talking about all this nonsense. And then speaking about the opposite gender. So beautiful she was. Now just imagine such talks in the association of serious devotees, very dangerous. Very dangerous. If you have that anartha in yourself, keep it up to you. Don't pass it on to someone else. Yes. And that devotee becomes eager. कहाँ देखा प्रभुजी आपने उसको? Therefore, in the devotee association, we should be very careful. We should be firstly conscious of our anarthas, and we should be very careful of doing a service to other Vaishnavas by not sharing our anarthas. Even that is a service. You're doing Vaishnava Seva. And you'll advance by doing this, not sharing one's anarthas. Therefore, talking or thinking, not this talking I spoke, but thinking also, you can just think about what we think. Like now you're sitting in a Bhagavatam class. So, what points you're able to connect with, and what is your thought process when you're hearing that particular thing? Or while chanting, what is your thought process? So that is this point, vikshepa, that is distraction. Now sometimes what happens is the person doesn't sleep throughout the class, he doesn't sleep throughout chanting. But then this is happening with him, he's so distracted, his eyes are closed, he's so distracted, going around the entire world thinking about so many material things. And the other devotee sitting beside him, chanting kar raha hai. And on the day of his birthday, glorification starts from here. Prabhuji's chanting is very intense. And the devotee is thinking, Arey bhai, tujhe pata nahi, main aankh band karke I'm going around the entire world. So this is vikshepa. The next one, the third one is apratipatti. Apratipatti means spiritual indifference. There is no laya. I mean, the laya is very less. That is not sleeping much. He is not distracted much also. He has got time to do bhakti. But then he is not endeavoring, or he doesn't feel himself to be capable to do more bhakti. That is this apratipatti. He is disinterested basically. He's finished the 16 rounds. He has got time. He has nothing else to do. Neend aa nahi raha hai. Yes. Beads are there in front of him. But he is not able to put his hand into the bead bag and start chanting. He has time. He can hear a class. He can hear kirtan. But he is not able to do that. He feels disinterested. Now this is apratipatti. Do you all experience this? Yes, all of us. See, this is because we have anarthas. Therefore, this is there in us. And many times this will happen. In that 5 minutes that we have or 10 minutes that we have, we can do something productive in Krishna consciousness. But unfortunately, kya kare? Since this problem is there, apratipatti is there, then we are like not interested. We don't want to do it. The fourth one is called as kashaya, or sinful habits. So tendency to display the faults like anger, greed, etc., that comes in this kashaya. Now tendency to display all these different things during devotional service, while chanting, while hearing, while speaking, or physically getting involved or engaged in some service. So this particular thing takes place. And if someone is getting angry, greedy, or whatever, so this is a sign of kashaya, that is sinful habits. One thing which I saw was, not much is spoken about the gross sinful activity at this stage, because gross sinful activity might not exist coming to this stage, the higher stage of bhakti. The person is struggling with the higher anarthas now. The gross anartha is not much. Like, for example, some illicit sex desire. He might have the desire, but he's not actually involving himself in that. When the illicit sexual activity is done, when the vasana is fresh, those fresh vasanas is what the person meditates on more. The mind goes again and again on that. I was hearing a very graphic example. When there's a fresh tool, the flies will go and sit on that. I don't know how that devotee was explaining so much about that. And he was saying when the stool dries up, the flies fly away. They don't come anymore. Now these flies going and sitting on that stool, the fresh stool is like the mind again and again going to that fresh vasana and meditating on that. So that's what takes place. Kashaya. Yeah. So that thing shouldn't happen. So we should avoid gross sinful activities. So therefore Prabhupada is so strong. See, when you go dive deep in these subject matters, then you can appreciate Prabhupada's lectures. Why Prabhupada is beating us so much? No illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating. Why so much? Because only when you stop that, then you can discuss on this. Now, when we don't stop that, there is no point of these discussions. Therefore, gross sinful activity should be stopped completely with a full stop. If you're not able to stop yourself, go and talk to your mentor and stop it completely. Very, very important. The last one, the fifth one, is called as rasasvada. Rasasvada means रस का आस्वादन. Yes. कौन से रस का आस्वादन? Material sense enjoyment. The person has got taste for material enjoyment. So what is that? Because of tasting the material sense gratification, he is not able to concentrate on hearing and chanting. Now, before also we spoke something similar. No, which one was that? Vikshepa. Vikshepa? Okay, Vikshepa. Oh, there's distraction. And then the next one that we spoke was apratipatti. Now, when apratipatti is there, he is not able to do more devotional service. He is disinterested. But now this stage that we're discussing about is, while doing the activity, he is distracted. No, he is completely, in different world altogether. He is relishing something else only. Yes. And then if you ask that devotee, you relished your chanting? Oh, yes, Prabhuji, very nice. He is thinking something else, is relishing something else. All that sinful impressions that we have, all those vasanas that we have, you will see, especially when you sit for chanting, when you sit for hearing, that is the time that everything will pop up. And the entire movie is displayed in front of us. And if the devotee starts relishing that, then it's a problem. He'll not be attentive while chanting and hearing. Not possible. So active endeavor, again I'm making the point, active endeavor is needed. So when you have active endeavor, that no, I don't want to think about this. You open your eyes, you start meditating on the deity. And again these thoughts are coming, no, I don't want to get distracted. You start offering prayers to the Lord. These are the ways of putting one's active endeavor. So in this way, when the devotee actively endeavors, then there is some hope of getting rid of all these different things. So rasaswad, enjoying the past vasanas. So he is relishing the sense gratificatory tendencies or impression that he has. There is no problem if there is the sensual thought that passes through. There's no problem with that. But when the sensual thing is the impression or the thought is passing through and you hold it and then you keep it with yourself and start meditating on it, that's the problem. It will pass through, no doubt, because of whatever activities that we have done in the past. But when it is passing and you hold it and then start meditating on that, that's a problem. So because of the anarthas, the 4 anarthas that we discussed, what are the 4 anarthas that we discussed? Dushkritotha, Sukritotha, Bhaktyotha, Aparadotha. Because of that, these 5 you will be able to see in one's own self. First one, Laya. Second, what is Laya? Mental inactivity or sleep. And we discussed the different levels of sleep. Second, Vikshepa means distraction. He's distracted. he is actively engaging himself in talking or thinking about material sense gratification. Third, apratipatti, spiritual indifference. Laya vikshepa ka problem nahi hai, but he is not interested now to do devotional service. Fourth, kashaya, sinful activity. So while doing devotional service, the person is exhibiting various faults like anger, greed, etc. And the fifth one is, अरे उठो, लया से उठो ऊपर, rasaswad, that is taste for material enjoyment. He is enjoying the sense pleasure. So now the definition of nishta comes. Why we are discussing all this? Bhaktir bhavati naiṣṭhikī. To understand this line, we discussed all these different things. So bhaktir bhavati naiṣṭhikī means what? So the person gets rid of the anarthas. Only now naṣṭa-prāyeṣv remains. So all these five which are there, this will disappear. Kitna maza aayega, just think about it. These five disappear. When these five disappear, what happens? The person becomes steady in devotional service, firm in devotional service. He is so eager now to hear. Like, Prabhuji, continue another 1 hour. Continue more. Continue more. He wants to chant more. He wants to read more. He wants to hear more. He is called as a fixed up devotee. Nistha. And now, naiṣṭhikī, this word naiṣṭhikī, which we are discussing here, bhaktir bhavati, naiṣṭhikī, this word naiṣṭhikī refers to nishtha. And nishtha means now the mind is able to easily concentrate on the Lord. Now see, as of now, the mind is easily able to concentrate on sense gratification. You need not endeavor so much. Now I want to concentrate on sense gratification, and then you plan and do a lot of endeavor, and then you concentrate. That's something natural, ekdam natural. Yasya naisargiki rati. Yes. This was a line that was used for Prahlad Maharaj. Vasudeve bhagavati yasya naisargiki rati. So for him, Vasudeva bhakti was natural. For us, something else is natural. Sense gratification is natural. But a person who comes on the nishta stage, for him, focusing on, concentrating on the angas of bhakti is natural. Is very nice. He's able to do it. So in this way, the person comes to nishta stage. So naṣṭa-prāyeṣv abhadreṣu and bhaktir bhavati naiṣṭhikī. But how to come to that stage is given in the middle two lines. naṣṭa-prāyeṣv abhadreṣu nityaṁ bhagavata-sevayā bhagavati uttama-śloke. These are the two lines which are there. Are you all interested to come to nishta stage? Or float in laya? We all should be eager to go to nishta stage. We should pray to the Lord. Now when you are hearing class, you should pray, oh Lord, this is such nice description that is given. Please help me, to come to nishta stage. Please help the speaker also come to the nishta stage. That will help the speaker also. Yes. So now in the nishta stage, how to come to the nishta stage is by serving. Nityaṁ bhagavata-sevayā. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, very beautiful description is given. Srila Prabhupada is elaborating these two lines in the entire purport. And towards the end, he speaks about whatever we discussed till now. So, Srila Prabhupada is describing this nityaṁ bhagavata-sevayā. Nityaṁ means always, 24/7. But Prabhupada is so merciful. He says regular attendance. Regular attendance in Bhagavatam class. That is called as an acharya. अभी देखिए अगर कोई पढ़ेगा 24/7 one has to serve Bhagavat. Now he'll get depressed, But a devotee who is regularly attending Bhagavatam class and he sees regular attendance in Bhagavatam class, a person will get fixed up in devotional service. He get hope. Oh, mera bhi kuch ho sakta hai. So nice. So here, very beautifully given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Eka bhagavata bada bhagavata shastra. Ara bhagavata bhakta bhakti rasa patra. So two types of Bhagavat is given. The first one is Bhagavat. Eka Bhagavata Bada. That is Bhagavata Shastra. Granthrāt Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. So he's talking about Granthrāt Srimad-Bhagavatam. And the second is Ara Bhagavata. The second type of Bhagavat is Bhakta, a devotee, Bhakti Rasa Patra, who is advanced in devotional service, who is the abode of the mellows of Krishna consciousness. This is the second Bhagavat. So nityaṁ bhagavata-sevayā means two things. Regularly serving, that is Bhagavat, that's Srimad-Bhagavatam, and second, the devotee Bhagavat. And Srila Prabhupada very beautifully, he talks about in the purport that through the devotee Bhagavat, you can understand Grantha Bhagavat. If Srila Prabhupada wouldn't have set an example for all of us through his own acharan, if Prabhupada's disciples and other devotees in ISKCON, they would have not set an example through their acharan, then how will we learn, various aspects of devotional service from Srimad-Bhagavatam? Now when we read Srimad-Bhagavatam, we are able to connect, with what these personalities are doing and done. Therefore, it's very, very important that we need both. Grantha Bhagavat, Bhakta Bhagavat. Swarup Damodar, he is preaching to one Bengali poet. He wrote a nice poem, he got it. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had this one thing, that he would never read anything directly by himself. If any newcomer comes with some, I have composed a nice poem, please read it. So beach mein there was one filter, and that filter was Swarup Damodar. This is a very hard filter. Swarup Damodar will go through that और ऐसा सुनाते थे लोगों को, useless fellow, ये दिखाएगा तू, ये out. Now this filter was so strong that no person who is having some rasabhas in his composition or something like that can directly approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very keen, reading the right thing, hearing the right thing. So Lord always, he teaches us by his example that there might be many things which might be attractive, but always the right thing should be read and right thing should be heard. So we should always have a filter. Maybe we might not have a secretary like Swarup Damodar, but then we should have a secretary within where we should have this intelligence to understand, analyze what should I read and what should I hear. Anything and everything cannot be accepted as Shravanam Kirtanam. We should be very, very careful. Very careful in what we are reading, whose books we are reading, whose lectures we are hearing, etc. Therefore, he says, so Swarup Damodar, who was acting as a filter for this poet, Bengali poet, he saw that the poem was not proper. So he told him, he gave a solution for that. He said, Jaha bhagavata pada vaishnavar sthane ekanta ashraya kara chaitanya charane. So he's saying that if you want to understand Grantha Bhagavat, what you're supposed to do? Go to Vaishnav. Go to Bhakta Bhagavat. And through Bhakta Bhagavat, you can understand Grantha Bhagavat. Now, it's a very nice thing, which we can meditate on. All of us, we have this opportunity to serve Grantha Bhagavat and Bhakta Bhagavat. Now, when we all sit with Srimad-Bhagavatam, to do our sadhana, that is reading, which is also part of Shravanam, we should be very careful and have this mode that is called as prayerful reading, which many senior devotees are speaking nowadays about. Prayerful reading. So now when I am sitting and reading Bhagavatam or I am hearing Bhagavatam, in both the cases we need to understand it's a seva that we are doing. What is the seva? The seva is attentively reading and attentively hearing. This itself is seva. Therefore Prabhupada, he gives us the instruction, submissive oral reception. So this is the seva towards Bhagavat, that is Grantha Bhagavat. So now therefore when devotees sit for reading Bhagavatam, so certain things we should always do. When we're sitting to read Bhagavatam, and also Prabhupada's books, are extract from Bhagavat only. So whichever book that we are reading, given by Srila Prabhupada, we should do these certain things. We should try our best to be in Vaishnava attire. This really helps. Say you're in dhoti kurta, you have freshly taken bath, say after coming back from the office, you have taken bath, you have put dhoti kurta, you have put tilak, and then you're sitting with Bhagavat. You'll see the difference. And before you open the Grantha, even when you pick up from the shelf, you pay obeisance to Bhagavat. You pay obeisance before you remove from the shelf also. Pay obeisance. And then you remove the book. And then you're keeping it in front of you. And then offer prayers. It's not that only in Bhagavatam class you have to offer prayers. Now, one of our devotee, now who is married, very, very strict devotees. I would see him in the base when we were in the base. So he would first sing Jai Radha Madhav Kunja Bihari. Alone, he is going to start reading Bhagavat. He would take Kartal and very softly he'll sing so that he'll not disturb others. He'll sing. After that, he'll offer these prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, naṣṭa-prāyeṣv, abhadreṣu, etc. And after that, offering Mangala Charan, Om Agyanti Mirandasya and all that. And then he would open the book. And some of you might say, Prabhuji, utna hi time rehta hai mere paas. इसका मतलब ये सब करने का बुक तो वापस शेल्फ पे रखना है. Krishna. Therefore, it's very important to read for a good amount of time. ऐसे नहीं कि 5 मिनट रखा है भागवत पढ़ने के लिए. And then tell me, what will you do in the 5 minutes? What will you do? Sometimes when my counselor send me the sadhana report and write 5 minutes reading, मैं समझ जाता हूँ क्या किया इसने 5 minutes में. Yes. So at least we should have half an hour where we prepare ourselves for 5-10 minutes and then we start. I see all the brahmacharis when they sit for reading, they do all this. They offer nice prayers and meditate and then they open the book. And that really makes a difference. I would see that devotee whom I gave the example of. So wonderfully, one pointed focus ke saath you would read. And so that the mind doesn't trick, you can always have a timer in front of you. Sometimes the devotee is very strict when it comes to time. Sadhana time, the rest of the time is lenient. Sadhana time is very strict. Lenient, sense gratification can extend. But sadhana cannot go beyond half an hour, 1 hour. So, no problem. Chalo, let's put the timer. So we'll put the timer and then start the timer and start your prayers and other things. As soon as 30 minutes is done or 1 hour is done, stop reading. So in this what happens is the mind will not trick you. Mind will not trick you. अरे तूने बहुत पढ़ लिया तू तब से पढ़ने के लिए बैठा है. But it might happen that in between some devotees came to talk to you. It might happen that you picked up the book or तभी से you start calculating the time. But पढ़ा कुछ नहीं. Yes. So when you start reading, then you start the timer, then your mind cannot cheat you. Then you can do your proper attentive reading with absorption. And after you finish reading, then when you're closing Bhagavatam, you always beg for forgiveness. So I'm a Baddhaji, I can commit a lot of offenses. Oh Bhagavat, please forgive me. Please forgive me. And also before you begin, after Mangalacharan, when you're just going to begin your reading, you can always pray to Bhagavat. That please inspire me, to advance in devotional service. I don't want anything else. I want to advance in devotional service. But I'm not able to advance. Please inspire me. And you will see what you're desiring for, Bhagavat will speak. It will speak for sure. Prabhupada's purpose will speak. And literally, sometimes you'll get goosebumps. Sorry, this is what I was searching for. This is what I was searching for. You might have read it before, multiple times. But now with a prayerful mood when you open and start reading, you will see this thing happening. So these are the different things that we do. Again, when you keep back in the shelf, again pay obeisance. So this is the way, you start from obeisance and end to obeisance. So by this what happens is you're doing respectful, prayerful, reverential reading. And this will really help us. And this is exactly what Rupa Goswami is saying. Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapa Vidya Pitopta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kintvadaradhanudinam Khalu Saiva Jushta Swadvikramad Bhavati Tad Gadamulahantri. As of now, we might be feeling all these different activities of bhakti bitter. But here's a solution that Rupa Goswami is saying. He's saying Kintvadaradhanudinam. He uses the word adar, respectful, with proper consciousness. Yes. So when someone does bhakti with awe and reverence, his sadhana bhakti, what will happen? Every day he's doing this, day after day. What will happen? Slowly and steadily he'll start feeling sweetness. And then Rupa Goswami is helping us and giving us all ashvasan. Tat gadamulahantri, and this disease that is making you feel bitter, that will be removed from the root, he says. So in this way we see that kintvadarad, adar ke saath, reverential. And after that, this for book Bhagavat, Grantha Bhagavat. For devotee Bhagavat, now it's very easy because you have an animate person in front of you. So obviously, whatever the person wants, we should be serving that person in a similar way. We should see, what he likes, he doesn't like, and accordingly behave so that the devotee is pleased with us. And as I always say, don't wait for some exalted soul to come in your life all the devotees around us are sincere. Just like that, you cannot sit in a Bhagavat class like this, where you're discussing so many technicalities and every point is a punch on the face. Yes. Still, the devotees sitting and hearing, making notes also. That shows the sincerity. And week after week, coming and doing sadhana, seva, that shows sincerity. So why wait for some exalted soul to come in our life? We can always serve devotees around us. And when we serve the devotees around us, by their prayers, and our superiors will bless us by their blessings, this will take place. naṣṭa-prāyeṣv abhadreṣu. And bhaktir bhavati naiṣṭhikī. We'll go to the higher stages of bhakti. We'll reach the stage of nishta. And when we reach the stage of nishta and say, some devotee comes to us and says, Prabhuji, मैं focus नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ भक्ति में. क्यों नहीं कर पा रहा है focus? मैं तो easily कर पाता हूँ. Yes. And then you can give a class on this. Yes. Because you have these anarthas, therefore you have these 5 things. Because of that, you're distracted. You're not able to focus. So come to nishta. And for nishta, do 2 things. Do respectful reading of Srimad-Bhagavatam, any Prabhupada book, and serve the devotees around. And then you'll be able to advance in spiritual life. You'll also come to nishta, to my level. And then you'll be able to relish Krishna consciousness. Kitna maza aayega aise preach karne ke liye? Just think about it. All the ego that is there will be satisfied. Thank you very much. Granthra Srimad-Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.